Dwayne Johnson and rolling. You can find it and somehow know why.
If only I could overshadow.
What is going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe and Rose's Pink Diamond. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace. Okay, so obviously you may have heard some news that Rose Quartz is actually Pink Diamond this whole time, or Pink Diamond was Rose Quartz this whole time. Rose Quartz doesn't exist. You know the drill. You may have heard whispers. I don't know. And if you didn't, you're a little late. Sorry. So this was obviously the biggest, most huge reveal in the entire series. It's bigger than Garnet turning out to be a fusion. It's bigger than Lars dying, coming back to life, and turns out Lion's actually just a dead lion. It's bigger than Ronaldo actually being Bloodstone. And obviously when you have a reveal this big, there's going to be some mixed responses. I think the Croniverse probably planned on this. It's a very controversial and divisive reveal. Most people, I think, really enjoyed it, but there's obviously been a lot of backlash because of this reveal, and some people are kind of mixed on it. And when I first watched it, I was mixed. I was very conflicted because I didn't even know how to feel. I didn't know how to gather my thoughts and all my feelings from such a crazy, crazy moment. And after kind of lulling over it a little bit, kind of marinating on the thought, is this reveal good or is it bad? And not is it good or bad for the characters, but is it good or bad from a writing standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint? And after thinking about it for a couple days, I still don't really know. I think this reveal does a lot of good things correctly and does a lot of good for the story, but I think it also does some things a little wonky. It's a little janky, a little bad for the story. And there are some things that kind of are yet to be seen. Some things that I don't know if it's good or bad, and it kind of depends on what happens and where they take the story from here, whether or not this parts of this reveal will actually be good or bad. So this video, I'm going to be talking about all my personal pros and cons for this Pink Diamond is Rose reveal.
All right, so let's start with the pros. The first being, despite having us mostly guessed that this was going to happen, it was still a really impactful reveal. I really have to appreciate how big of a reveal this was, because I think part of the reason it was sort of surprising was because this kind of became a meme. The whole Rose's Pink Diamond thing became a meme. So when it actually happened, it was still really, really shocking, despite all the hints they threw throughout the series and us kind of theorizing this is one of the oldest theories in the book. So for it to really finally happen is a huge deal. It's really satisfying for people who have been here since the beginning, or at least close to the beginning, and they remember this theory actually being a thing and to actually see it come to fruition. That's a really big deal. And again, they kind of threw us a couple curveballs here and there where it was like, oh, maybe this isn't the case, or is it the case? Is it not? And then for it to finally happen, it was a huge deal. So I gotta give them props for that. Also, just the fact that this changes the entire framing of the show so far, which makes it really great for rewatches. Like if you rewatch the show, anything that has to do with Rose in any capacity, or even just the Gem Rebellion as a whole, is completely changed. The context is completely changed, and I gotta give them a lot of credit because that's not something that you really see. I've never really, I don't think, experienced in any show, whether it's live action, cartoon, anime, or movie, or whatever, where a reveal like this happens and it changes the entire series from before it happened. It changes the context completely. So if I watch Steven Universe again, scenes have entirely new meanings now, and that's something that I've never really seen. So I really appreciate how that happened, and it kind of trickles down throughout the whole series. And of course, I really love that this revelation will have serious consequences and reactions from the Crystal Gems, Greg, the Diamonds, and Homeworld as a whole. Everyone is going to be deeply, deeply affected by this, and it's going to have serious ramifications moving forward for the team, for the Crystal Gems, and the overall plot. And I think it's going to move the plot, and hopefully it's going to change the show forever in terms of the pacing, in terms of the episodes that we get, and what the context and the subject matter actually is. Hopefully get a lot of character development and a lot of character interactions that we've never actually experienced before in the series. And obviously we're already kind of getting that with Sapphire and her freak out. We've never really seen Sapphire freak out to this extent, and especially since Ruby's the chill one. So we're obviously getting a lot of deep-seated anger and pain here, and I hope that this really affects the cast in a big way. So those are the pros. Regardless of whether you like this reveal or not, it was a very, very powerful reveal, and I gotta respect the ballsiness of it. But there were some issues, admittedly more issues than there were good things, but some of these issues could be fixed depending on what they do moving forward. But let's focus on the issues. One kind of goes back to the fact that we predicted this already as a possibility years ago, and it kind of goes back to an age-old problem for Steven Universe. It took too long to get here. This reveal, if it was revealed right after season 3, where Eyeball revealed that Rose shattered Pink Diamond and it was like this big murder mystery started up, it happened like a little bit after that, maybe like mid season 4 or maybe even by the end of season 4, I think it would have been a lot more satisfying. And obviously part of the reason, again, is Cartoon Network scheduling and all these long hiatuses. It took way longer than it should have in theory. I mean, it's been about 2 years since that season 3 ending, and if we account for that and the fact that 6 months had passed with the longest hiatus ever and we had absolutely no episodes, that's a third of that time was spent doing literally not doing anything with no episodes. I personally think season 4 could have been better paced. I think we did a lot of lollygagging and hanging around doing stuff that really didn't need to be done or talked about, character development for characters that really didn't need to be developed that much, like minor characters. Not to say any of those episodes were bad. I guess, you know, you could argue Rocknaldo, but that's a different story. But I think a lot of those episodes in season 4 kind of took a lot of time away. Not all of them, obviously there was a lot of great development episodes for the main characters, but there's a lot of side episodes that didn't really have anything to do with anything, and it kind of slowed the pacing of this huge murder mystery and this huge reveal up. And having this Pink Diamond is Rose Quartz reveal a little sooner, I think would have been more impactful. The other issue is you could argue that this gives us a basic roadmap for how things are going to be going for the rest of the season and possibly for the rest of the series, even without that big spoiler that Cartoon Network dropped. So obviously that big spoiler, I kind of already know where this is going in more detail, but this kind of gives us a roadmap as to what's going to happen. I don't want to say anything at risk of kind of giving hints as to what the spoiler was, but this reveal does give us a general idea of what's going to happen and where everything's going to go. Obviously, I could be wrong, but it does seem like it's going to kind of lead to an obvious place. So that is pretty unfortunate, and obviously the spoiler does play a part in that, so that's really not necessarily the show's fault. The next is this also means that the show is likely more predictable than we thought, and that we may as well take most of the things at face value. So what I mean by that is a lot of people predicted that Rose is Pink Diamond, and it was sort of the most obvious thing because there was just so many blatant hints laid throughout the entire series that was like, okay, obviously this has got to be a thing, right? But it seems like this might be just the case for the whole series, and we do know that Rebecca Sugar has stated that she wants the mysteries and the lore and the secrets to kind of be more of an aha, I knew it type of thing, rather than a wow, I didn't see that coming type of thing. So I feel like most of the things that they drop in the series, we might as well just take as face value. Sneeple's happening, my boy. That's gonna happen. They're gonna be the main antagonist, calling it right now. Connie mentioning that there might be another gem human hybrid out there somewhere. It's gonna happen. There's gonna be some other gem human hybrid from some other gem out there on Earth or some other planet, and it's gonna be a thing. Like, I might as well just take everything as face value now. Again, this is kind of just hearsay, but I feel like this is gonna end up being the case. Most of the things that they mention in the show are probably just gonna come into fruition, so it gives us less, as theorists who would like to really speculate and have fun with it, it kind of just gives us an idea of what to expect and what to theorize about and what not to theorize about. Another issue is the transformation itself seems sort of forced. There was a lot of soft magic just kind of thrown in our faces without any pre-established introduction. And what I mean by soft magic, if you're not familiar, in like fantasy settings, there's usually soft magic or hard magic. So soft magic is just kind of vague magic. It's just magic just for magic's sake, right? Like Lord of the Rings is like this. Harry Potter's kind of a mix of soft and hard. Hard magic is more like, okay, we know the rules of this magic, we understand how it works, we understand why it works, we know the technicalities, what they can do, what they can't do, the strengths, the weaknesses. We understand in a detail how the magic works. And for the most part, Steven Universe had pretty hard magic. We understand that gems can crack and then they'll be damaged. They can shatter, and that's basically death. They can shapeshift. True forms are within the gem itself, and they take form via light. They all have weapons. They're all built for different purposes. So we need to understand how gem magic works to a degree, but there was a lot of stuff just thrown in our face that we had no establishment to, which is fine. Some of them are more minor. It just kind of was weird because there's all these things and just leaves all these questions that some of which may get answered, but some of which may not get answered. So for example, we have like, okay, so Pink Diamond can just flip her gem and becomes a different gem. Well, does that mean she's a new gem, or is she just pretending to be a new gem? Is it just convenient that the other side of her gem looks like a different gem? What if it didn't look like another gem? What would she have done in that case? That's very specific. Or does she really change the composition of her gem to actually become a rose quartz? I don't know. Can all gems do that? Is it just diamonds? She can just turn dirt into shards. That's weird. That's very specific power. Okay, I guess she could do that. But why did she eat the shards and they showed up? Why did they show up when they were poofed? We know that gems can be poofed and their food isn't going to just drop out of their stomach. We know that's the case because their physical form goes into the gem. Presumably the stomach is part of the physical form. So why did the shards show up? I don't understand. Are they going to explain that? So we just have gems inside of gems now? Like, is that just for pearls? Is that for all the gems? Like, there's just a lot of stuff that leave a lot of questions, and it just kind of threw us off guard. And it was just a lot to just take in at once. And hopefully they explain some of this, but I'll get to that later. And another big one, and this one I don't think they could really fix, is that it takes away from Pearl's rebellious actions and makes her more just another Pearl following her master. Before it was like, oh, she decided to follow Rose because she loved her and believed in her message, and she went against her diamond and against Homeworld. But yeah, she went against Homeworld, but she didn't go against her diamond. She basically stuck with her programming, which is to follow her diamond, and that's exactly what she did. She's in love with her diamond. It just takes away from her rebellious actions. It just completely devalues everything that she initially stood for. She's just now essentially a regular Pearl. She's not the renegade Pearl that we all thought she was. So those are the pros and cons, and then some of this is just kind of wait and see. Overall, the narrative of Rose being Pink Diamond is not inherently bad from a writing standpoint. It all just depends where they go with it. In order for this revelation to not fall apart, two things need to be accomplished. One, they need to explain exactly how Pink Diamond was able to pull this off as far as the magical technicalities go. And two, there needs to be context for Pink Diamond's actions. So what I mean by this? Well, one, let's deal with the first thing. If they never explain how Pink Diamond's gem flippy magic works, then it'll just come across as a cop-out. If they never explain why the shards were able to show up after she was poofed, it'll be less of a cop-out, but still a cop-out. I can live with the Pearl Inception thing not being explained. It's gem magic, whatever, but it would be nice to know how that works. And the turning dirt into shard things is whatever, I guess, but still. They need to explain the technicalities of how this whole ruse ended up being, and also explain how she was able to shapeshift into a rose quartz for all those years. Is it because she's a diamond, or is it because she flipped her gem so she changed into rose quartz? Like, what does it all mean? What's the deal with that situation? They need to explain that, otherwise it doesn't feel believable or earned. And I hope that someone doesn't have to ask Rebecca Sugar in a panel somewhere in order to get this answer. I hope this is answered in the show. Now, the other big thing is there needs to be context for all of this. The characters either need to recognize that Pink Diamond is a bad person. They need to recognize this and wholly accept that she is not the person that they thought she was. Quite literally. I don't want there to be a little fallout and then they just patch it up and act like nothing ever really happened and it's no big deal. The Crystal Gems and everyone involved absolutely, positively need to see Pink Diamond for the twisted, sick, sadistic person that she was, period. Even if she was trying to free thousands of gems from Earth, from Homeworld's tyranny, she still went about it the wrong way. She still has proven herself to be very schemy and manipulative and just not chill, man. She's not chill. This needs to be wholly acknowledged. So far, judging by Sapphire's reaction, it probably will be, but we'll have to wait and see what happens at the end of all this. Or, in order to put context into Pink Diamond's actions, they need to reveal something about Pink Diamond to be so unbelievably sympathetic that she doesn't seem quite as bad as she does now. Still pretty bad, but more genuinely flawed rather than a borderline sociopath. Maybe through a flashback or memento, something to make her sympathetic and make the audience understand exactly what she's thinking and where she's coming from and make her more quote-unquote human rather than just a monster. Essentially, they need to frame Pink Diamond as the bad person she currently seems to be and come to terms with it, or they need to offer something we never knew about Rose Diamond that gives us more of an understanding. Hell, I said it on my last live stream, but without giving too much away, Thanos in Infinity War has so far been painted to be more sympathetic of a character and with more honor than Rose Quartz ever had, and that's pretty insane. That makes Rose Quartz a bigger villain than Thanos in a sense, which is insane. All in all, I'm happy for the Crewniverse that this reveal finally got dropped to us properly and wasn't spoiled. They spent years and years of their lives crafting this reveal, and I gotta give them props. Regardless of whether you think it was a good or bad reveal, predictable or not, the implications of it completely shatter, no pun intended, our perception of the entire series, and I feel like it's opening up a lot of exciting conversation in the community again, whether it's positive or negative. And regardless, it was a really powerful move, and I think it's very, very interesting. Personally, I'm withholding full judgment until I see where this goes. I don't know if I like this or if I disliked it. While I do have some problems with it, I think it has potential to go somewhere really, really brilliant if handled very carefully. So regardless, I'm excited to see what happens after this and what else is in store for the series. And it just kind of sucks that I know most of them from that spoiler. Thank you whoever did that. Thank you so much for that. But what do you guys think about this reveal? Are you happy that Pink Diamond was Rose Quartz, Pink Diamond, whatever you want to call it? Are you happy with this reveal? Are you not happy with this reveal? Why or why not? Please let us know in the comments down below. Are you still mixed like I am? And if you are, do you pretty much agree with what I said? Disagree? Definitely want to hear your thoughts. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more Steven Universe discussions, theories, and content. And be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we got more theories on the way, so we can kind of pick your brains. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I've been Michael Williams. You've been watching Cartoon Universe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.